How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new video. My name is RuffledRowlit, and I will just warn you right now, there may be some story spoilers for Legends ZA in this video, so fair warning if you do not want to keep watching. But let's get into the first thing, which is going to be about the Mega Evolutions and how potentially it is possible that the Megas we have been hearing about, that the colors that have been mentioned could actually be the shiny colors. So here's what we're talking about. This is not originally from Soul, it's actually from Jan, who said, honestly, I heavily suspect that the leaked Mega descriptions are actually describing their shiny forms, especially for those who suspiciously sound like the shiny color palette, like Skarmory, Greninja, and possibly the turquoise color on Scolipede, which, yes, the colors that have been mentioned by the leaker, which is Ball Guy, he's the one who's been, like, leaking a bunch of this information, or at least, like, sharing the information that he's, you know, been given. He specifically, in his leaks, brought up a few interesting elements, like, for example, the fact that the colors of certain Pokemon don't really match what we would expect them to look like and sound more like the colors of a shiny version, which we don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but here's what, of course, you know, Soul has to say, which is there might actually be something to this. It's possible that the leaker could have seen the shinies of the leaked Megas, but I don't think this is likely to have happened multiple times. I think that the one that seems the most possible is Skarmory, which seems to almost to sound like almost its exact shiny colors for its leaked Mega description. Surprisingly, most Megas keep the general shiny colors of their base forms. For example, keep base form from color, so he like actually highlights what Pokemon keep, you know, their base form of their shiny Pokemon. And then he also highlights, you know, adding a new color or changes color from base form. Now, again, I mean, all of these do change them drastically. I mean, Beedrill changes drastically, Mewtwo changes drastically, you know, like, there's drastic changes in most of these. I mean, the only ones that I can think of that don't really do anything too crazy, I mean, Steelix just going from, you know, kind of silver to gold, you know, like, that's one thing. But, like, I would say Blaziken looks the least changed. Most of the stuff, though, does have like an actual genuine change in color. Majority of them, right? But again, it is possible they could have changed this. Now, we're going to move now over to the next thing, which is going to be, well, potential story spoilers, so fair warning. But here is the first thing that was posted. So, this is all info from Ball Guy, from the Discord server he's in. I'm on, you know, a bunch of people, including myself, are in that Discord, so you may have seen this already. But here's what it says, though. First, he says the word Coriveu, then owns Mega Scolipede, Kalos Mafia. And then he says, different rank promotion contains different story arcs, plays into this whole thing. Probably wasn't necessary to connect the dots like that, but here you go. Anyways, things are seeming to dry out. Not sure how much further we can go without tripping over the story too much. One last thing, though. Seeing a lot of damage control on Twitter right now. Some people are just going to admit when things are accurate. Just going to be a bit vague and hey, guys, hey, you guys hate vague shit, but you can assume the most recent thing is probably talking about. Well, basically, the ZA story spoilers, which also, by the way, we did have, I think, images from Riddler Coup as well. But what we have here is essentially your main character with Zygarde acting like almost like Scooby-Doo. So basically, this is implying that in the story, we're probably together with the Zygarde going to walk around and most likely solve mysteries within Lumio City. And then it says here, your first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club, which could be implying that, like, Mega Evolution is not something that, like, is talked about publicly, because, of course, there's a Mega Stone there, and if you guys don't know Fight Club, the first rule of Fight Club is do not talk about Fight Club. No one's supposed to know that it's happening. Maybe even implying that potentially, because it's saying Fight Club, could also mean the whole, like, ZA tournament that happens at night, the whole promotion matches. Even that whole thing could be some sort of underground battle ring of sorts, which is kind of crazy for Pokemon to go with that whole direction, but that seemingly is what they're implying here. And then there is there's Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's. Now that, of course, if you do not know, is like the one that contains Afton, like, I forget his full name, but, like, Afton, the guy who's basically the villain of all of Five Nights at Freddy's, he basically always comes back. He always returns, implying that Lysander always comes back. Now, couldn't we use the energy to improve the lives of people and Pokemon? Implying that potentially Lysander is back, and he's now actually trying to use, well, I mean, he's still maybe the villain, and thanks to, like, him being back, he's trying to, again, you know, use Infinity Energy in some way. Devin was able to become one of the top industries in Hoenn, thanks to Infinity Energy. And then here you see Portleak saying Pokemon ZA storyline spoilers have hit Twitter. Rest in peace. It's an image riddle, and it has accurate info. Confirms the image is real. Now, what are we talking about when they say image is real? Well, there is some leaks that have came out. For example, like this one right here from Riddler Coup saying I am L, and it's of course from Death Note. And in case here you guys do not know, well, Ball Guy just made this public, so I guess it's not a secret anymore. The character named L is actually Lysander. Apparently, he looks older, got white hair, and is in good terms with the dog. Now, the dog would, of course, be, there's only one dog I can think of, would be that specific form of Zygarde, right? Like Zygarde's like dog form, right? That's what it would be implied with. So that would mean that Lysander isn't a baddie? I mean, is he a bad guy? I don't really know. It's a bit of a strange one, how that's going to work. And of course, there is the whole thing that like, you know, people are saying like here, I wonder how Jet and Vinny tie into this. I somehow believe the theories that he might be Lysander. Vinny looks quite different than L, if you ask me. So this would imply that Vinny and Lysander, I mean, they could be the same person or they are separate people. Maybe related. They could be related. It could be family of some sorts. Like that is always a possibility, right? Like keep that in mind. There's always a possibility they could be related in some way, but who knows? So just keep that in mind. Moving on, though, we have another story spoiler thing, which we're going to take a look at. So let's get into that one. So this one continues, but includes a few more images. For example, there is literally a radiation nuclear warning over Lumios, implying potentially that, well, I mean, is this entire thing like radioactive, or is like the entire like Lumios is a nuclear weapon of sorts? Maybe like literally like this entire city is a ticking time bomb. We also see a mega Lucario who's got red eyes, implying that it's going like probably rampaging, going crazy. Could imply that maybe we're gonna see some alpha Pokemon, like some like alpha megas, like the same way that we were talking about like in our previous video. We had this whole post here from of course, Soul Silver, who says that, you know, of course, with Mega Zeraora being canceled, and the fact that in the, you know, like Royal Tournament, there's going to be from Z to A, which is 26 letters, and guess what? There is 26 new Megas, so is it possible that every single one of those trainers we battle is going to have one of those Megas in their team, one of those 26? So, like, the trainer that's rank Y, rank X, rank W, whatever, is going to have one Mega per, like, per letter, and one Mega per rank? Or is it possible that those 26 new Megas will work like almost like bosses as well, but like side missions of sorts, like kind of how you had like the Alpha and Noble bosses from back in Pokemon like Legends Arceus? Like, both of those are a possibility. And again, here with this riddle here, having the Lucario with like the crazy eyes is kind of what it's implying again. Then we also see a grave as well as like, or like not a grave, sorry, a bridge, as well as like two little children crossing that bridge and an angel. What that one means, I don't know. There's also a Batman image, potentially implying that like we might have a character that's going to be some sort of hero, some sort of masked hero, but like it's one of those things where it's like obvious, because I mean, if you think about it, Batman being Bruce Wayne is kind of obvious. I mean, you know, it's like Superman. You're like, oh, when he puts on the glasses, he's Clark Kent, and if he takes the glasses off, he's Superman. It is ridiculous, but the point still stands. The point is that, like, you know, they seem to be implying some sort of character that's going to be a masked vigilante or hero of sorts, because that's what Batman is. So potentially we might see that happen. I do not know what the angel thing refers to. That one is that one I ain't got no clue what that's supposed to say or what that's supposed to hint. I ain't got no clue, brother. But it could mean a lot of things. Could mean nothing. Could mean everything. I don't really know. But at the end of the day, there has been a lot of riddles from Ku. Of course, a lot of the stuff in this riddle has already now been confirmed. You know, everything here, like this being Scolipede up here, that's pretty much been confirmed. I think with the these fellas, I assume Garbodor, but I think, what was that confirmed to as well? I don't really remember anymore. But most of this stuff has been basically confirmed now. These riddles have been actually, you know, more or less confirmed legitimate. But let's move on to the next thing, which is another riddle, and this one, or sorry, another story spoiler, and this one is a little bit more spicy. So this is about everything kind of combined into one. So here is what they're looking at. We've got, first of all, L with Lysander, so that's implying that, of course, what we saw here from Riddler Ku, I am L, just again confirming that it is Lysander. Then we got a picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is interesting. So he says literally AZ2, him and the dog are besties. So I guess what he's trying to say is that Lysander's gonna get old. He's gonna be like basically like Obi-Wan Kenobi, a wise old master. He's old now. He's gotten gray hair, and apparently him and Zygarde are gonna be good friends. How that makes sense, I don't know. Is he a bad guy still? I don't know, but it's implying that he's still alive, and he's gonna have white hair, and he's gonna be just straight up evil, you know, straight up evil. Or sorry, no, not evil, straight up good, I guess. But again, how that's going to work, we don't know. Then he says, never mind ZA Royale, you go from Z to A, 26 ranks, 11 types. Strongest trainer to defeat, Angie, it's not Zygarde. So Angie is a name that they've mentioned a few times already, but we still do not know what Angie stands for or who that is or what that is. The competition is actually ran by Quasartico, and different rank promotions contain different story arcs. So that's interesting. So I guess every time you rank promote, that's how you progress the story. So there's going to be about like 26 arcs. But keep in mind, these arcs can be very short. It's like every day there's a battle. So, you know, every night, you know, there's a new battle. So it could be really short. And then there's also a post here from MK Burstbag saying, oh, guys, the A in ZA is Angie, and the A looks like the ultimate weapon. So Angie must be that. Yep, hashtag confirmed. And then somebody, the ball guy actually like quoted that and had like the straight fire writing thing, which I mean, maybe confirms it. I don't know. And then up here we have, of course, you know, the whole thing implying that Lysander plus, you know, I forget what her name is, Jet, equals these two fellas. That maybe like, you know, our rivals are going to be in some way related to them. Who knows? Because the next thing he said here is something hinted is that Jet, Tawny, Urbane, and L are all related. Okay, so that's the tweet that I guess confirms that, implying that maybe there is some familiarity between them. Maybe they are family. Maybe they're related in some other way. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. And then Ball Guy says, it is not the old ultimate weapon, though. And I knew it. There were two. So that's implying that the ultimate weapon we know of isn't the only one. There is another one. What that is that a Pokemon, a human, an actual device? We don't know. But the fact that he has a nuclear freaking strike on Lumiose, implying that maybe Lumiose City as a whole is literally a weapon of sorts, right? Like the entire city is some sort of weapon, which again would be pretty wild. But, you know, I digress. It is what it is. Now, what do you guys think about all this? Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, this is story spoilers, so, you know, I already fairly warned a lot of people before going in. But let's move over to something less, you know, related to that. Now, it's a fun little discovery by Jordan, who noticed that, has anybody else noticed that there's a Tropius on her door? I did just now. And of course, yes, there's a Tropius design on Nemona's house. But it's interesting because, you know, first of all, it's a tiny little thing. It could mean nothing. It could just be a design decision. But sometimes when they leave these weird little like hints like this in the games, sometimes these little hints could actually be like a sort of implication of something that's going to come down the line. Now, Tropius is, of course, a tropical Pokemon. It is from the Hoenn region. If I'm not mistaken. It's from Hoenn, and it's one of those Pokemon that, again, don't really think too much about. It's not getting a Mega or anything, but this could be implying maybe like what kind of location we might be going to next, because again, they like to do that. They like to leave little hints for the next location. Now, we do know that the next generation of Pokemon, which is going to be Generation 10, and that's going to be Gaia, that place is going to be some sort of tropical region. Like, that is something that we have heard. That's something that's been hinted by leakers and stuff, so it is possible that that is what's being hinted here. Like, it is way, way, way possible that it could be hinted here. But let's move on to something that I think is really, really fun, which again is about hints and stuff. Now, here is a post that that was made by Tochigi Haruka. Now, Tochigi Haruka is the director of Legends ZA. If you do not know, he's the man who's directing the entire game, like, you know, overseeing the development of it, directing the story and things along that nature. Now, apparently, if you guys did not know, last week when it was the Nintendo Direct, he specifically quote tweeted that Nintendo Direct before we even knew there was going to be Legends ZA news in it, and he specifically said something along the lines of, wow, 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 you know, implying that he was excited for it, because yes, in that Direct, we ended up getting Pokemon Legends ZA news, confirming that, again, when you see one of these developers quote tweeting in Nintendo Direct, that usually means something crazy is going to be happening. But it doesn't end there. Tochigi Haruka, the director of Pokemon Legends ZA, will be, this will be how this is how he debuts as a head director. And then he basically says, information is releasing little by little. And then a little like, you know, satisfied little face. Now, this is him quote tweeting the Legends ZA news stuff. He says, and then she says here, considering we got news on February 27th, and now today, March 27th, in the Japanese time zone anyway, I think it's likely we'll be getting at least one trailer or some type of news released every single month. After a year of waiting, it's going to be a steady rain of info, which would be very good because there's so many leaks happening right now. It'll be nice if we could kind of like be drip fed, you know, like information every single month. Like every single month, if we get at least one trailer to hype everything up, get everybody excited, it would honestly keep people involved in Pokemon way more and get more excited for this game. Because you know, like the last time they did anything like this, I mean, I don't remember, man. That was probably like Sun and Moon was the last time that they actually did like a really good promo cycle. You're gonna see Dames here saying, I hope so, almost like the X and Y promo cycle. I miss those regular news periods. Me too, because I remember when we got the news for like, I really mean it, like Sun and Moon was the last one where we actually got consistent news with trailers like every month or so. And it's been a long time since then. So it'd be nice if they actually started giving us info now instead of us having to rely on just leaks for info, which is, you know, it gets a little bit tedious after a while. So we'll see how that goes. But again, this is interesting, and Soul even says this is very important info, a piece of info, and I love the promo cycle philosophy of releasing things little by little. I wouldn't say we'll get something every month, but we could get the next trailer early May or early June, sorry. And then maybe July, August, September, and release in October. Maybe that by then also announcing a Nintendo Switch 2 version next week too, which is possible. We could get a announcement for a Nintendo Switch 2 version tomorrow, because this tweet was made last week. So again, tomorrow we might literally get, or actually wait, today when I'm recording this, because I'm recording these videos on 2 separate days. But point is, we might be getting an actual announcement of, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 having a exclusive Legend ZA version, but we just do not know that just yet. We'll see how it turns out. Again, it's all for, you know, speculation at the moment. And there, of course, is the tweet itself of him saying this information. It's intriguing. It's interesting. I'm excited. We'll see how it all turns out when we get to it. And speaking of, by the way, I mentioned Sun and Moon. Well, basically, something interesting did happen about Sun and Moon, which is that Nintendo Company, Game Freak, and Creatures Inc. Received approval to renew the trademarks for Sun and Moon and Pokemon Sun and Moon in Japan today, which of course could mean nothing. They do have to refile their signing, like re-sign these things every now and then, just to make sure they keep the rights to them, so that nobody else can take these trademarks, which would be really weird because, first of all, they already own the Pokemon trademarks, so it's weird that they would care about like these two particular ones, because it's, first of all, Sun and Moon, games that are no longer being sold, therefore the 3DS, it's like, it's a bit odd, but it's something they have to do as a business, because otherwise, you know, people might try to take the trademark from them, and that's something that would be very bad for them. But we do have another piece of info, and that's just going to be probably the final info for this video, which is going to be that we might potentially have some, you know, information about the next, you know, professor, which is... So considering we possibly could be getting official news tomorrow, and again, this was posted last week before the Nintendo Direct, I think. But basically, here's some exclusive gift from us. The professor for Pokemon Legends EA is not Sycamore. It's a returning character from X and Y that becomes the trainer. So yeah, Sycamore apparently is not going to be the professor. He also says that it's not AZ, and people are a little bit, you know, confused. But there is some speculation that it could be, for example, one of the many characters you run across, the gym leader, you could, you know, I guess Trevor, your rival-ish. Man, the rivals were really weird in that game, because I don't even remember, like, the fact that his name is Trevor is a surprise to me. I don't even remember their names. But it is possible, of course, we're going to be getting a new professor, but apparently they're going to be a returning character from X and Y. So who that's going to be, we'll have to wait and see, but it's all interesting nonetheless. And the final thing is we're going to take a look at some really cool Mega Evolutions, really, just before we end. We have this sick concept of what Mega Halucha could look like based on the description by our boy Subarashi, which I think looks perfect. We also have this awesome shiny version and regular version of a Mega Scrafty by Shula, or Red BRB on Twitter. We also have an amazing drawing of what a Mega Meganium could look like. Fashionably late with this one, but here's my take on ZA starters by Gold Mills, which, again, I think looks lovely. And finally, we have Mega Greninja by Rye the Drawer. And again, even this looks bloody fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.